Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the latest episode of Rick and Morty Analyze Piss. And I actually really enjoyed this episode because it delved into Rick's kind of propensity for, assholes to come out of nowhere to kind of make a name for themselves to, oh, I took on Rick Sanchez kind of stuff. Or he might have incidentally, fucked someone over and they're kind of coming back for certain kind of revenge. It's because we start off the episode and we see the Mr. Nimbus kind of dude coming at him at this kind of bunker, and Rick starts kind of having a fight with the dude, and it's actually a pretty interesting fight, and Rick's just like, alright, fuck it, screw it, and says, Morty, get out of the bunker kind of thing. It gets blown up, and Mr. Nimbus says, yeah, I won, bitch, haha, and then leaves, and Rick actually apologizes for losing his bunker. For Morty, it's like, okay, and then we get the Cookie Magneto dude pop up, and he's like, he can, control cookies? And Rick's just like, I'm kind of tired of this shit, and just, takes the dude out. And Morty's just even trying to get a handle on the dude's powers. Like, what the fuck? Because Rick is just tired of these, 90s kind of weird-ass supervillains coming at his ass. And then we get, a dude, from DC Comics. I never know how to pronounce his name. The N dude, who's, a kind of, floating dude that can, do complete crazy-ass shit. And he's just like, oh, fuck this shit, and goes to the therapist person. He actually turns the one dude into a fly, as that's also brought up later. It's like, yeah, that was a totally normal fly. And the therapist is like, listen, you should make an appointment. Please don't turn my patients into flies and everything. Turns the dude back. He's like, I was so free. We're good. And Rick inadvertently helped him get to a place of peace. It's like, huh, interesting. And he brings up that he keeps getting attacked by these kind of people, and he's got the dude hooked up, and he's sucking them from juice. He's like, for cosmic juice kind of shit. He's like, well, if he's there, and I gotta keep him from doing shit. And she's like, all right, how about this? You just ignore him and just kind of go about your business. He's like, that he kind of has a kind of control issue kind of thing on it, kind of his kind of place in the universe kind of stuff. But she's like, hey, why don't you just ignore it? And I'm like, all right, cool, and just don't feed the trolls kind of thing. So we see that he's brought this up with the family. Family's like, yeah, this probably won't take that long. As we then get Pissmaster propping up, and I could see how this could have went too far and would have been just a kind of throwaway, kind of gag out, kind of gross out humor. And he's like, come on, Sanchez, I'll take you down. And then he goes a little bit too far and says that he'd do a golden shower on Summer. And Jerry's like, that's it. And then we get a very interesting kind of crossing kind of effect of what kind of goes on with this whole kind of story, because Jerry goes out and is having none of this shit, and first does it's kind of, it's not super violent, but kind of pushes the dude and then starts fighting him, and Jerry actually kicks his ass, and it's an actually very well done action scene, because it's not super action like we saw with Rick and Nimbus and what can kind of occur from that. This is just a dude who's fighting a dude that's got piss technology, and he whoops his ass. It's not it's just a normal ass whooping, not hey, this is a superpowered god scientist just racking shit. And he kind of takes him down. People are videotaping him and everything. Well, videoing him. And then the dude kind of flies away, and people are like, hey, yeah, he kicked that dude's ass. And then we see these people that are kind of like the Green Lanterns, except they got sticky orbs. It's yeah, it's showing that you've got a pure heart. And he's like, all right, how do I use it? It's it'll let you know how to use it. And then Rick's like, all right, I'm cool. He's just chilling out and kind of piecing out from the situation. And then he's then fine, Jerry. And then he builds him a suit to harness the powers as he then goes around and helps people. it's kind of funny because he had seen this whole thing of like this planet of Hitler's planning Hitler shit, and he's trying to figure out how to use the armor and the orb thing, and accidentally blows it up. However, he lucks out on this, and we see that through a lot of confluences of events, Jerry starts pretty much becoming like a hero, and Rick's like, "What the fuck? I don't do anything," and he's just like doing all this kind of shit. He's like, "Yeah, but you're not getting like attacked by all these kind of people or anything like that." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, you're kind of right." But he kind of starts getting irritated by it as he fucking gets this like Mitsubishi ship, and he has his family pretty much be the bridge crew for it as they're kind of driving around. And we see that Rick's kind of getting drunk and is kind of perplexed and a little bit pissed off of like Jerry pretty much getting all this spotlight, and it actually does start kind of turning him into an asshole. Mainly towards the end goal of the episode, we see that Rick then goes to find the Pissmaster dude because everybody's clowning on him. Now, granted, he did a bad thing to like try and go and like attack someone. However, the level of ridicule that was going on as a dude was disproportionate as well. I did like how it examined that kind of stuff because Rick then went into his house and found that he had killed himself. He tries to revive him, but he's unsuccessful, and then pretty much is trying to leave before he sees that Pissmaster's daughter pops up and is afraid since she hasn't heard anything from him. And instead of leaving, Rick does something kind of different. He actually kind of goes against the therapist's kind of advice. Now, granted, her advice was just to ignore the kind of troll, asshole kind of people. But normally, he would have also ignored this daughter trying to figure out what's going on with her father. And he pretends to be the father and actually takes on the mantle of Pissmaster and does all this kind of heroic stuff because he'd found the suicide letter by the dude and he just wanted to prove to people that he wasn't a failure. I get that goal, but trying to go beat up somebody to prove that you're not a failure isn't the right way to go about it. But then Rick's like, alright, I'm going to try and kind of redeem this dude and then kind of get out of it. His ultimate end plan is to show that he goes out in a blaze of glory to then kind of line up and help out the daughter. It's a very kind of, more kind of caring and empathetic kind of Rick action that still falls along the lines of what he would do to try and help kind of remedy the situation. But it's kind of cool to see him have that kind of empathetic reaction and being like, I kind of get where this dude was coming from. He didn't go about it in the right way, and ultimately, instead of like trying to help him, everybody fucked on him, and he killed himself. And it's like, damn. So he's going around, he's helping these people and everything, using the piss technology and all that, and actually, he doesn't upgrade it to a degree that it's like unrecognizable from Pissmaster, but he uses piss technology pretty effectively to like help people, help cats. His big thing is that he pretty much made this bomb to pretty much do the whole Blaze of Glory thing, but then Jerry catches wind of it because the Orb Council wants to induct him because everybody likes an underdog story, and Jerry's like, no, screw that kind of stuff. And it's like, you're being an asshole, Jerry. I did like seeing how, like, yeah, you can come out of and try and do something good, but then start becoming that kind of asshole that you tried to take on. You have to be careful in how you do these things. Like, Jerry has usually been bullied and belittled all of his life, and every time we've pretty much seen it with, like, Rick. And seeing him get to that other side and kind of be like, screw that. Now, they don't go very far with it. They just go well enough that he's like, screw that shit, and goes and tries to pretty much fight Pissmaster as he's doing this whole thing. Finds out it's Rick, and that everything's kind of going nutty. But the Orb Council sees that Jerry was pretty much being a douche. Everyone's like, what the fuck is he doing? Attacking him as he's taking the bomb away. And all that kind of stuff. The Orb people see that and it's like, fuck you, Jerry. And they take the orb away from him as they then kind of bounce off. Yeah. and then they pretty much get back to a kind of normal thing. Rick pretty much did get in contact with the therapist, and she said, hey, as long as you're doing something kind of positive, go for it. Which, yeah, I kind of agreed with her advice on that. And, well, they get back to the house. They're kind of pissed off at Rick, but then Rick can't hold back what he was kind of, well, not pissed off at Rick, but they're just like, alright, what the hell's going on? He tells Morty about the whole thing. Morty tells everybody else, like, sweet Jesus, because I think it's kind of weird. We'd see him going on this empathetic journey, but I also think he wanted to have Jerry know how far he went and what were the consequences of the actions and how he got everything that happened. So, and then everybody's just like freaking out about everything going on. He's like, whatever. And then we kind of get to the end, and then the Orb Council people are like, let's go with somebody more famous. They try and go with the Mr. Nimbus 2. He's like, yeah, he's too busy. And they're just kind of like, alright, whatever. As they're still trying to find other people to come to their orb thingy and join their Orb Council of people to do their shit. So I did like seeing this episode, and I'm like, okay, what the fuck is this going to be about with Analyzed Piss? And it wasn't as gross as I thought it was going to be, and it really was a nice kind of character study on, like, trolls and assholes trying to get a rise, trying to prove something, and how you kind of need to, how you can handle it, and how if you push it to certain degrees, you can become that kind of asshole like Jerry did, because, yeah, just employing violence doesn't work all the time. Like, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be, like, if that dude was trying to, like, kill people and actively trying to hurt Summer, yeah, you stop that with the appropriate amount of force. But Jerry started fighting and we're like, hey, I could solve my problems through violence, and then tried to, like, solve it again at the end of this episode with Pissmaster, even though it was as Rick. So I did kind of like thinking about that and seeing how Rick was kind of being a better person, helping people and trying to rehabilitate the image of Pissmaster, and also help out Pissmaster's daughter. It was a cool kind of thing to see, like, both of their journeys kind of intersect and kind of inflect on each other about what was kind of going on before we get to the end, and it kind of gets back to its kind of status quo, even though we've learned more about these characters and, like, what would happen if you tried to have Jerry, at least in this kind of instance, become a hero, and how that could actually turn out to be a bad thing if he doesn't learn the correct lessons of what happens with going out that way, and he just lets it go to his head like this, and it's like, yeah, he definitely would do that. So I liked seeing this, and I can't wait to see what the other kind of episodes explore and what other kind of character moments and story moments we could potentially get. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.